What if the egg wasn't just alive, but it was watching you? That night, David suddenly woke up to a strange sound. It was the same heartbeat, the same mysterious pulse he had heard the first time he touched the dragon egg. The room was completely silent. Outside, powerful winds howled through the night, while thunder echoed across the distant mountains. Slowly, David turned his head. The golden dragon egg, resting on the wooden table, was glowing brighter than ever before. The blue markings carved across its shell pulsed like veins, as if an ancient power inside was slowly awakening. Hesitantly, David stepped closer. With a trembling hand, he reached out and touched the egg. The very next second, a massive explosion of golden and blue light flooded the entire room. Everything around him disappeared. When David opened his eyes again, he was standing in a completely different world. Thousands of enormous dragons filled the sky. Below them, entire cities burned beneath endless flames. War raged in every direction. Suddenly, a gigantic golden dragon burst through the clouds. Riding on its back was the Dragon Queen. Her eyes carried unimaginable power and heartbreaking sorrow. She slowly raised her hand toward the sky. Instantly, the heavens were covered in brilliant golden light. Then her voice echoed across the battlefield. "Find my heir, or darkness will consume the entire world." The next moment, everything shattered. David crashed onto the ground, gasping for air. But the biggest surprise was yet to come. As he looked at his wrist, a glowing blue mark had appeared. It looked exactly like the eye of a dragon. He immediately tried washing it away with water, but instead of disappearing, the mark began to shine even brighter. With every heartbeat, it released a faint blue glow. The following morning, David decided not to tell anyone about the secret, but strange things had already begun happening throughout the village. A farmer's goat vanished overnight. Every bird in the forest suddenly flew in the same direction. The village elders whispered that a terrifying roar from a gigantic creature had echoed through the mountains during the night. David knew that wasn't the sound of any ordinary animal. So he carefully hid the dragon egg inside an old wooden chest. But the moment he stepped outside his room, the heartbeat returned. This time, golden and blue light leaked through the cracks of the chest. David rushed back and quickly shut it tight. What he didn't know was that a mysterious figure wearing a black cloak stood silently in the distance, watching everything. A strange smile appeared beneath his glowing golden eyes. Without making a sound, he turned and disappeared into the dark forest. That evening, David's best friend James came to visit him. James immediately noticed something was wrong. David kept glancing toward the wooden chest every few moments. Then suddenly, blue light escaped from inside the chest once again. James froze in shock. David quickly stepped in front of it so James couldn't see. Somehow, he managed to change the subject, but a seed of suspicion had already been planted in James's mind. Night fell once again. This time, the heartbeat was stronger than ever. The entire room began to shake. The windows burst open on their own. A powerful wind rushed inside. Slowly, the dragon egg began floating into the air. Then, ancient symbols written in the forgotten dragon language appeared inside the circle. David couldn't read them. Yet, somehow, his heart understood their meaning. Suddenly, every light vanished. The room fell into complete darkness. At that exact moment, deep inside the forest, the mysterious cloaked figure stood before an ancient stone monument. He placed his hand upon it. Instantly, the dragon symbol carved into the stone ignited with brilliant blue light. A moment later, 3 more warriors dressed in black emerged from the mist. The 4 stood silently together. Then the mysterious man looked toward the sky and smiled, as if he had known all along that this moment would come. The next morning, David finally made his decision. He would uncover the truth behind the dragon egg. He packed his old map, a compass, his journal, and everything he needed into his backpack. The moment he stepped outside, The dragon mark on his wrist began glowing again. The compass needle spun wildly. Then, it suddenly stopped, pointing toward a single direction, beyond the ancient mountain, a place where no one had ever dared to go. David stared into the distance. At that exact moment, a hidden crack slowly opened within the mountains. Brilliant blue light poured into the sky. Then, deep inside the darkness, two gigantic golden eyes slowly opened. For one brief moment, they watched. Then, they quietly closed once again. To be continued.